Good morning Year 4 and welcome to day 3 of maths. Pause the video, give yourselves 5 minutes and work out today's Fluent in 5. So hopefully you were able to use our written methods. Now I know I've spoken about division previously. We will be going back over that when we come back into school, hopefully very soon. There is a video on YouTube on the Fair Oak channel to help you with refreshing your memory for long division. And I also put a link to that on Purple Mash, which you should still be able to see. So hopefully you were able to work through these questions using a written method for these two and mentally for these two. So on to today's lesson. We are continuing to look at equivalent fractions, but we are going to show you the shortcut method. There is a shortcut to find an equivalent fraction, and you may have noticed some patterns in yesterday's lesson. If we have a look here then, we've got 4 fraction strips. They are all the same size, so we can compare these fractions because each part of the fraction strip that's been shaded is the same. However, this one has been split into 3 equal parts, so the fraction on this is 2/3. This fraction strip has been split into 6 equal parts, so the fraction that's been shaded here is 4/6, and so on. We have 9 equal parts, 6 of them are shaded, 6/9, and we have 12 equal parts, 8 of them are shaded, 8/12. If you have a look at the fractions when they're written next to one another with the equal sign, meaning that they are equivalent, you can notice a pattern. And here it is here. We have 2/3 equals 4/6. We have 2/3 equals 6/9. Now if we have a look at the numerator, 2/3, 4/6, so 2 is the numerator in this fraction and 4 is the numerator in this fraction. Now I know my 2 times table, and I know that if I multiply 2 by 2, I'll have 4. If I look at the denominators, 3 and 6, again, I know 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. So this is a shortcut way to find an equivalent fraction. You must multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Again, if we look, 2/3 is the same as, is equal to 6/9. And I know that 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, so that gives me the numerator. And again, I've got to multiply the denominator by the same. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. 2/3 equals 6/9. So that is a quicker way than drawing out fraction strips and folding them, marking them, shading them. We can multiply to work out what the numerator and the denominator will be. So can you come up with any other equivalent fractions for 2/3? Here we've multiplied the numerator and the denominator by 2 to work an equivalent fraction of 4/6. Here we've multiplied them by 3. So can you have a go at multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number to find some other equivalent fractions? Try it. You might try it with 4 or 6. You might try it with 12 or 20. As long as you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, that will give you an equivalent fraction. So let's try multiplying it by 20. 2 multiplied by 20 is 40. 3 multiplied by 20 is 60. So I know that 2/3 is equivalent to 40 over 60, 40/60ths. Now that is far easier to work out the equivalent fraction of how many 60ths it would be equal to than trying to find a fraction strip, divide that into 60 and cut and shade the same amount. That's why it's called a shortcut. So here is another example from this number sentence here. To get 8/12, we multiply the numerator and the denominator of 2/3 by, I know that 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 4 is 12. So if you want to pause the video and just have a look through this again, just to get your head around what we need to do, multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. It's always got to be the same number. This is important. That's why I've got a big line under here and I've written it in red. Must remember that it's got to be the same amount. Have a go at coming up with some other equivalent fractions for 2/3. And then I'd like you to pause the video in a second and try these questions. Using multiplication, find the first 3 equivalent fractions of 1/7. So you've got 1/7 here. You've got to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2 to find out the equivalent fraction, and by 3 and by 4. And then you're going to write each of these answers in a number sentence to show the 3 other fractions that 1/7 is equivalent to, and so on. Remembering that you must multiply the denominator and the numerator by the same factor, by the same number. So pause the video and have a go, and we'll go through that in a second. So hopefully you were able to work out, using your 2 times table, your 3 times table and your 4 times table, that the first 3 equivalent fractions of 1/7 are 2/14. That's 1 multiplied by 2 and 7 multiplied by 2. Using your 3 times table, 3 21s, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 7 is 21, and 4 28s. 4 times 1 is 4, 7 times 4 is 28. Here you had to find missing denominators and numerators. So this required you to have work out what the factor was before you could then work it out. So we look at 3/4 here, and we know that we've multiplied the denominator by something to make it 8. So I know that 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. Therefore, I have to multiply the numerator by 2, and that gives me 6/8. Again, I have to look past this now. So we're looking at the end one, and this time we've been given the numerator of 9. And I know that 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. Therefore, I have to multiply the denominator by 3, and 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So hopefully you were able to carry out these ones in the same way. 2 multiplied by 2 gives me 4. Therefore, 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10. And again, we've multiplied 5 times 3. So we have the denominator of 15. Therefore, we need to multiply 2 by 3, which is 6. So hopefully you were able to work through these to find these answers. Pause the video and just double check that. Here we're multiplying by 2, by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So today's math lesson is similar to what we've just worked on. We're finding the missing denominators, numerators and fractions. Here we have a pictorial representation as well as written numerically. So we have to find the equivalent to 1/2. We multiply the numerator by 2, so we must multiply the denominator by 2. And here it's represented pictorially. And you need to work through each of the examples in the same way. Here we don't have any pictorial representation, but it's giving you the instruction. So it's telling you that to find the equivalent fraction of 1/3, you multiply the numerator by the numerator by 4, write the answer here, and the denominator by 4, write the answer here. So it's just going through each step and following the same process. Here you've got to work out what the missing factor is first. So you need to work out what 4 has been multiplied by to get 8, and then you multiply 1 by the same factor. Again, what has 1 been multiplied by to have the numerator 3, and then you have to multiply 4 by the same number to find the denominator. So pause the video, have a go through those. If you're not sure, you can always watch the video again, and do your best. Pause the video, and then once you've finished, you can check your answers. You don't need to upload this work today. Sorry that still says purple mash, but just make sure that you check and do any purple polishing, and good luck. And here are today's answers. So hopefully you'll manage to work through these, multiplying the numerator and the denominator by 2 in this case and 3 in this case. So we have 2/4 and 6/9. This one you had to work out what the numerator and denominator were being multiplied by. So here we can see that the denominator is 6. It's been multiplied by 2. So we have a denominator of 12. Therefore, to make it equivalent, we have to multiply the numerator by the same number, 2/12. And that's how you carried out the answers to that section. And here we had some missing numerators and denominators, so you had to work out what the factor was in each case. So 1/4 is the same as how many eighths? Well, I know that 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, therefore 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, so 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. Then we had the numerator of 3, so I know that to make an equivalent fraction, 1 multiplied by 3 is 3, therefore I have to multiply the denominator by 3. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So hopefully you found those okay. If not, as I've said before, Mr. Anderson and I will be available on Teams this afternoon. If you've got any questions, please feel free to join us. And I'll see you tomorrow.